Dear Rentals Club members, thank you for joining us. I'm here now with Jo Bourke. Jo is the founder and director of Bach Break Taranaki. Obviously, if you're in New Zealand, you know this area really well. It's very famous. But Jo will introduce us to this area for people who are not familiar with it. Jo is a pretty amazing person. I mean, we've chatted before recording, and I knew I would be getting a person who's able to do a lot and deliver a lot, but that's a lot of insights for you. So quickly, we'll be talking about things like, of course, what her business is. We'll be talking about the lockdown in New Zealand, how it was. And also we'll be talking about what she's been doing during the lockdown. She's not been lazy in a way. She's been very active, as you can imagine, but not only just looking at what was going on, but she pivoted her business for some of her clients who needed to. She improved some processes. She as well found the time to get together with the rest of her local industry to be ready to welcome guests. So we'll be talking about that. So we'll be talking about a topic I found very important, which is cleanliness. Jo has always found this very important in her own business. We're talking about, again, what she's been doing and how also this is being used now to make sure that guests feel okay and feel safe getting back to her places. So without further ado, I'm welcoming Jo right now. Jo, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm pretty good, thanks. I said we'll be covering a lot, and there's so much insight you are going to bring us. So thank you so much for being here. And
you're very welcome.
So take us to your region and your business.
Sure. So Taranaki is a beautiful place for anyone that hasn't been to Taranaki before. It's on the west coast of the North Island of New Zealand. We have a population of 122,000 people. It's got the beautiful beaches and Mount Taranaki. For everyone, where can you ski and surf all in one day? Well, you can do it here. So that's pretty special. We have the scenic coastal walkway which runs along the waterfront, and you can spend your days wandering along there, exploring the many beaches, heading into the city for culture, arts. We have a lot, so it's a really special place.
That's fantastic.
We'd love to see you here. Yeah.
How many properties do you have there?
So we manage 90 holiday properties in New Plymouth.
Okay, it's holiday properties, and again, so do they? It's winter season's coming, I guess. So are they also?
That's correct. Yes.
Is it a year-round occupancy? What's the business like there?
So currently, at the moment,
sorry. Go ahead.
Generally, yeah. Okay, so a little bit quieter in the winter months. Our prime time basically runs from the start of October through to the end of April is our really key time. But through the winter, we obviously do have a number of, contractors and people that come into the region for work. So we have a lot of that, and people travelling around visiting family through the winter. So we still get a lot of business through the winter, but our prime time is through the summer.
So we've just talked about the usual times, but do tell us about the COVID-19 times. How was it?
Sure. Okay. So on the 26th of March, the government moved to go into complete lockdown of New Zealand. And I remember that date because it was my birthday. So it's not something that I've forgotten.
Imagine.
So all of a sudden, we locked up the office and left the office, and it was kind of a surreal feeling knowing that we were heading home and we weren't sure what happens next. Within the 48 hours that followed that, we lost 95% of our bookings. So basically at that stage, we saw the whole business falling apart, basically. And it was a shock. It was something that was out of our control and we couldn't do anything about it. So it was difficult times.
So difficult times, a big shock for you and the team, but yet you managed to find some energy and stay super productive, right? There's so many things you've been doing. So can you maybe take us through the first thing you did after this shock? How did you regroup? How did you find this energy?
Well, I took a few days to do that. But then I decided that it was time to stand up and fight. And what was happening is everyone was interested in talking. You know, the whole community was interested in talking because all of a sudden, you know, COVID-19 had changed the way we viewed things. So there was lots of opportunities to be involved in different projects. So I got myself involved on a local level in the community. So working with hospitality, tourism, events, and the arts, and we started to have meetings and discuss what we could do to benefit the region. So that's exciting, and we're still working on a number of projects now. Like what was really great is everyone was willing to come together, so it was a perfect platform to start planning. You know, how we bring that domestic tourism market and what we're going to do to attract international tourism in the future. So we're currently looking at things like apps where people can look up events, they can select accommodation, they can look at the different restaurants and plan their whole holiday from there. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, and so something to note as well is that, as you just mentioned, right, domestic demand has always, I think, been strong in the area, right? So it's
yeah.
And you mentioned a bit earlier in this talk that contractors, for example, so there's demand for your places from domestic travelers already, and there's even in the off season you have something. So let's talk about the demand right now. So are there any new bookings and is it just short-term rental? Are you also doing long-term rentals? What's demand like at the moment?
Well, a big part of COVID-19 is we actually had to, I was concerned about our owners and were they going to stay with us through this process. You know, they need an income as well. So what we actually did is pivot our business slightly to look at long-term rentals as well. So anyone that desperately needed an income and felt that they didn't want to go through this time without one, we actually pivoted to be able to do long-term rentals for those clients. Majority of our clients have stuck with us and stuck with holiday rentals because we've kept them well informed, and we said, hey, you know, there is going to be a huge domestic market moving forward. So those we've had a lot stay with us, and some have moved to long-term rentals, and so we're working with them at the moment, you know, placing people into those properties. So the key thing for me was holding on to those clients, basically. So having those relationships, not letting go of them, and working together because it's a partnership.
So, yeah, so I think it's one of the keys. Again, we just heard you talk about how you've been able to reach out to other local hospitality businesses and events and even relationships with your clients, like the owners. So how do you think, how important have relationships been in this whole crisis for you?
Very, very important. One is my team. You know, I have amazing staff, and we pulled together, and I've never seen everyone fight as hard as what we had through this. It really demonstrated to me that they care about the business so much, and it's been really important for me to look after them through this, because when we come out the other end of it, you know, we need them, you know, those experienced people. And the other thing was my owners. You know, clearly I've had feedback because I was emailing them every few days, telling them what's going on and what's coming up and what we're planning. So I've had some really great feedback from them saying, look, thanks so much for keeping us informed. That's all we ask for, you know, is for you to keep us informed. So, you know, that's been really important. So we've had that community relationship with our owners, with our team, and I think all those relationships have become stronger through this.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And again, relationships don't happen overnight, right? So it's something, as you said, right? It's something you've done over and over. Also finding the right moments, right? Okay, now maybe we should email them every 2 to 3 days because they need information. So it's really interesting to hear about the balance you found to inform them the right moment for the right information. That's fantastic.
That's right. Yeah.
Something I also wanted to talk about. So again, for people who have no clue about New Zealand, what's a batch?
Oh, okay. So a batch is a vacation home. So it's no different than any other vacation home. Back in the 60s and 70s, the family would be packed up and they'd go off to the batch. So in the North Island, they're called a batch. In the South Island, they're called a crib.
Oh.
So yeah, so I guess, you know, that stuck over time. And when we first named the business and branded it, we didn't think about the international market at that time. So we get lots of questions. Well, what is a batch? Well, we probably should have stuck to vacation homes, you know, but it's just a real Kiwi thing.
Yeah, on the other hand, you know, I was looking at naming your property management company, Bach Break. I was like, oh, what's Bach? I mean, this is the composer. So of course, they're like, oh no, that's how they call it. I don't know. To me, it's actually good branding. It sounds local. So it sounds more authentic than, you know, vacation rental or holiday rental. So I thought it was like
Yeah.
a good point to bring to people. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, you also something you've been doing a lot with your companies is taking care of cleaning. I know that cleaning is a topic that's has become certainly fashionable in a way, but it's something I think you've found very important in your business for a very long time. So I'd love to see with you, you know, what you've been doing all these years in terms of cleaning, and whether you've seen maybe new questions around it from people who want to book, for example.
We put a lot of emphasis into cleaning within our organisation, always have. The staff are trained really well, so we put 2 staff members into a property to clean. And prior to guests' arrival, we also do a pre-inspection on the day they arrive. Okay, so we take it very, very seriously. That property has to be immaculate. You know, we want people arriving to a really clean environment. So it's always been really critical for us, and the fact that we use a commercial linen company to launder and provide our linen and towels and all that. So that's something we've always done. Now, when COVID-19 came, obviously we wanted to be approved by Civil Defence to offer essential services to people coming in that were either people that were you know, couldn't leave the country and needed to hunker down while the lockdown was on, or any emergency service people coming into our region for work. So there was Ministry of Health guidelines, so we stuck completely to those and trained and learnt what cleaning standards were required within, you know, to protect ourselves from COVID-19. So from that, we also saw that it was so critical to our business that people were assured that when they arrived at holiday property that it had been cleaned thoroughly. And we've noticed that we've had a number of people contacting us and saying, look, what is your cleaning standard? I'm coming to your property, but I'm a bit nervous about it and a bit unsure. And can you please tell me what your cleaning procedure is? And so that's become really, really critical. We also advertise the fact on our listings, you know, that we are cleaning the properties properly to COVID-19 standards that requested by the Ministry of Health. Yeah, so it's very essential.
I guess, and Jo, for Bach Break Taranaki. So let's. My last question will be about the demand. We said that demand is coming back, and about how the efforts you're doing with your local community to even start addressing more international markets. But how do you see 2020, for example? Do you think that Australians will be able to book, for example, first? We're talking about an international market that's not too far and probably doable. So how do you see it? One, the demand coming from, and also in terms of channels or platforms, again, where do you see these people booking from?
Sure. I think there's going to be a variety. I mean, domestic tourism is going to come back strong because a lot of Kiwis can't travel overseas, but they still want a family vacation, you know, so they're going to be booking all over New Zealand, and they're going to be booking in what we call their own backyard, you know, so they're going to explore parts of New Zealand that they haven't. So some of the New Zealand booking platforms that are very familiar to New Zealand is the likes of Book It Back Time Away, one called Holiday Houses, which is probably, you know, you're probably not aware of, but that is a New Zealand product. And so, yeah, so at the moment we're finding we're getting more bookings through those channels. And then, of course, when they open up the Australian bubble, which hopefully, you know, will be in the next few months, we don't know for sure, but we will see then a bit more international tourism coming in. And we hope it's not too long until we can welcome international travellers to our shores again, you know, and show them around Taranaki. I mean, we've been surprised since coming out of lockdown how much business we are getting. You know, it's basically picked up, and we're surprised. It's exceeded our expectations. We've had more bookings coming in than we thought we would have. So that's very positive.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. That's. I think it's a positive note to end on. Really, that's things are coming back. You know, obviously, as we said, also you help out a bit because your market has always had very strong domestic demand, but that people actually book, that's such a relief. I can imagine, right after the shop.
That's a very good relief.
Joe, I really want to again take the time to thank you because it was very insightful. Again, we got to learn about the market, your region, what you've been doing, your business. If people want to reach out and maybe know more about your business, about Bach Break Taranaki, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Sure. And you can just email me. My email is Jo, J-O, at batchbreak, BACHBREAK.com. Or you can just go to our website, Bach Break Taranaki.
Okay, so we'll make sure to put the link to your website right under the video.
That would be great. Super. I love that.
Yeah. Once again, Joe, thank you so much, and I wish you a great day.
Thank you for having me. We'll see you again. Bye.